you so much. All right, so be sure you take some time to visit the canopies around here. We've got some amazing canopies with amazing people underneath them, so it's a good place for shade. If you're getting a little hot, go check out some of these cool shaded canopies. We're really thankful for every speaker that we've had here, and we're also very thankful for you, because the message that we keep hearing over and over again is that the future is really up to us. So you all are leaders in this movement, because you all are taking action, and you're going to spread the word, and we're going to expand the army. All right? So we're going to introduce you to Miss Bernadette Pajer, and she's going to share with us some really great updates about informed consent, and she'll let you know exactly what that means. We're also going to ask her to share a little bit about who she is and her background as well. Can you please welcome Miss Bernadette Pajer?
Oh, hey, AJ. Hi, everybody. It's great to see so many familiar faces here. And new faces and everything. This movement really is growing. I want to just feed off of what Amy Miller just said. You know, really, we don't need a single law to change, a single politician to change. If each and every one of us, in all of the choices of our life, we chose the life we want. We chose the food we want, the farms we want, the homes we want, all of that. We would begin to defund our enemies, and they're going to follow the money. They're going to follow the money to what we want. So the power really is right here with all of you, with the grassroots. A big motto that we have, I'll tell you first of all, I guess I'm Bernadette Pajer. I'm a citizen advocate. About 10 years ago is when I really got deeply involved. I call myself an advocate for scientific integrity in public health policy. So who here believes that we have scientific integrity in any public health policy? I'm not seeing a single hand go up. All right, I agree with you, but we're working there. And in the state of Tennessee, I'm going to tell you in a little bit, we actually do have a couple of really good bills that are now law that passed past couple of years. I'm also the volunteer Tennessee director of Stand for Health Freedom. It's a nonprofit organization that works with advocates in all the states at the grassroots level, pushing out, let's see if I do this right, pushing out information about bills. So what happens is Bernadette the Citizen, I go to Nashville April through January. I support good bills, I run a few bills, and I fight bad bills. And then I send messaging to Stand for Health Freedom, and if you're signed up with us for free, you get an email that alerts you that your voice is needed. We tell you the bill number, just like TCGC does, right? But we're health freedom focused. So you get the emails, you get the talking points, you get the contact information, so your voice can be heard. What I love about all of these people here is there's a lot of overlap between us, TCGC, Tennessee Stands. So many great organizations are working together and working in harmony. There really can't be too many of us. There really is a lot of power in the number of groups that we have. So we're really in very exciting times here with MAHA. I mean, pinch me, is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. really the HHS secretary? I mean, did we really think this would ever happen? Yay! And, you know, and so many other people have been put in positions at the federal level that they're still really in the midst of corruption, and yet they're taking the steps that they can. And what I want to encourage you is if you see at the federal level, things aren't going as quickly or as far as you might want, your voice is still needed. You have to have their back. They can only go so fast at that level because of what they're enmeshed in. But that means we need to get louder, push harder, and say, we still want those COVID shots off the market. We still want people in jail. You know, you got to keep that up, but do it in a very respectful way, if I could ask you that. So here in Tennessee, what I really encourage you to do is pick your passion. because there's a lot of areas out there that need your attention, but you don't want to get burnt out. So pick a couple of things that you really feel in your heart and soul that are driving you, okay? And put your effort behind that. There's 2 areas that I'm working in now. One, I need to increase awareness and implementation of good existing laws that nobody knows about, and need your help with that. Also, we need help in passing new legislation, protect your health freedom rights. This talk is sort of about informed consent and about informed choice, because we got into this mess that we're in now in so many aspects of our lives because we were complacent and we just didn't know. We walked down the aisle of a store, we picked whatever was on the shelf, and we liked, what was on the box. We didn't know anything about what we were buying, about the medical care, the pharmaceuticals we were being prescribed. And we ended up in this very unhealthy mess in so many ways. But we have the power to change that. So a couple of the laws that I want to remind you of, you all here likely know about them, but you would be shocked how many people don't know. For instance, so many Tennesseans still don't know that in 2022, the law passed where you could get ivermectin without a prescription at participating pharmacists. When people try to find out where they can do this, if they call the Department of Health, they're not told where they can go. If they call the Board of Pharmacy, they're not told where they can go. So it's been up to us citizens to let each other know that this law exists. I'll let you know, if you go to healthyimmunitynow.org and find the ivermectin tab, you're going to find a list of participating pharmacies near you where you can go buy ivermectin without a prescription. In 2023, a bill passed that's now law called the Mature Minor Clarification Act, and Amy Miller and I worked very hard on this bill. It's a law it didn't make new law, it clarified existing law. It clarified that minors cannot be vaccinated without parental or legal guardian consent. That has always been the law, but doctors and public health have been abusing that. So in the state of Tennessee, make sure you know, your neighbors know, your friends and family know that that is the law. In 2024, an amazing bill passed that almost nobody knows about. It's an anti-coercion bill. The bill says that no physician can coerce you into getting a vaccine. And who here knew about that bill? Raise your hand if you knew about it. One person out there knew about this, so that's bad. So we need to spread the word that your doctor, a nurse, nobody, no health practitioner can coerce you into getting a shot or getting your child shot. This law also says they can't try to make it seem as if it's the law that your child has to get vaccinated for school. They have to tell you about the existence of medical and religious exemptions. And when you have a newborn, they have to tell you about the availability of religious exemptions to any newborn screening out there. So this law passed in 2024. Last year, a bill passed called the Restore Trust in Public Health Messaging Act. Who here has heard of the Restore Trust in Public Health Messaging Act? I got 2 hands. All righty, see, we need to spread the word. Anytime a bill passes that the Department of Health is not aligned with, you hear nothing, absolutely nothing. So it's up to us. This is a really important law. It took effect in April. If this law had been in place during COVID, things would have been way, way different. What this law says is the Department of Health and the governor's office and anybody receiving grant money cannot say anything about a vaccine, a mask, or an EUA product that conflicts with product labeling. And they cannot say that 2 or 3 vaccines are safe to get at the same time if there's no studies looking to see what happens when you get those 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 vaccines at the same time, okay? This is so important. That means that the Tennessee Department of Health can no longer put any messaging out there that says it's safe for a pregnant woman to get a COVID shot or a flu shot, because that conflicts with product labeling. They cannot say that it's safe for a child to get all the shots at the 2-month, at the 4-month, at the 6-month, or that the entire CDC schedule is safe, because there are no adequate studies that have examined this administration. So what we're hoping to do with this is to cease the marketing of vaccines by the health department and to make sure what they say is fully fact. We have a little problem, though, is when they were supposed to have their process in place in order to carry out this law, July 1st, I contacted them, and they had no process in place. But I was assured by their legislative liaison that they had audited the entire website and department and found that they were not out of compliance anywhere with the law, which of course made me laugh because they're out of compliance in many, many places. So continuing to work with the amazing bill sponsors, which are Senator Janice Bowling and Senators Crow and Representative Susan Lynn, to compel the Department of Health to comply with this law. They have until January to remove any information posted out there or still out there that they distributed. They need to pull it back. And then moving forward, they can't put it up. There's actually in the law the ability to go to the AG's office and file a complaint, and the AG will investigate to make sure they stay in compliance. And I need your help, so feel free. Go to the Stand for Health Freedom booth. You can get my contact information. If you want to help monitor Department of Health and help me with reporting violations, I would so appreciate that. And especially if you're in the medical system, if you're a doctor or a nurse or anywhere where you're hearing from the Department of Health and you see information that you believe conflicts with product labeling, please let me know. That needs to be reported as well. It's difficult to know everything that they're saying in all the areas that fall underneath this law. Another bill that passed was a bill to open up the One Health Committee to the public. The One Health Committee, One Health is a concept that has World Economic Forum and World Health Organization roots. Here in Tennessee, I don't believe the members understand that. They just think it's the Department of Health, the Department of Ag, UT, and all these people getting together to talk about the intersection between animal, human, and environmental health. But we saw with COVID what that means. That means increased surveillance, increased reasons to control population, increased pushing of vaccinations. If you want to hear the whole story of what happened while they closed themselves to the public, again, come to the Stand for Health Freedom booth. I'll tell you the story. But we passed a bill last year to force them to be open to the public. That became effective in April, and they have not met since. So I'm not quite sure what that means. Did we get rid of the One Health Committee, or I'm not sure what they're doing, so we will have to find out. Last 3 minutes here. So the other legislation that I really need your help fighting and supporting, Amy Miller talked about House Bill 809, which is the Pesticide Liability Shield Bill. Please come talk to me about how that bill works, because it's even worse than the Vaccine Liability Shield, because all it says is that if a pesticide bears an EPA-approved label, they're not liable in a civil action, including a failure to warn. And they're trying to say this is not a full liability shield. Well, it absolutely is, okay? But the language is a little tricky, and they have really confused our legislators about what this means. The Senate already passed it all the way through the Senate floor. The House passed it through the Ag, and now we got it stalled at House Judiciary, and we need your help making sure that puppy just stays right there and dies at the end of the 2026 legislative session. There's going to be a good bill this year. We've already got Senator Paul Bailey and Rep. Lynn carrying this bill. It's a bill to require that severe adverse events that happen when somebody is taking a psychotropic drug like ADHD medication, depression medication, that sort of thing, or if they're trying to come off of that medication, that serious adverse events are reported to the federal system. Right now it's mandatory, and so we don't have the data that shows how very dangerous these products are. But my hope is once doctors are mandatorily required to report adverse events, by the time they file that 5th, 6th, 7th report that month, they might hesitate about advising or prescribing a drug for the next patient that comes along. And the final thing in my last 2 minutes here is the AAP, the American Academy of Pediatrics, have publicly announced war against religious exemptions to vaccination. They are going full out. They call them non-medical exemptions, but they mean religious and personal exemptions to vaccines. And so it is really time for us to stand up for our religious freedom, for our right to exempt. As we work toward getting rid of mandates, government should not be mandating our children take vaccines in order to go to school. That's not really what 1905 Jacobson decision said. There's been such misunderstanding. But we also need to get the AAP out of Tennessee code. There's currently a law in the books that has nothing to do with school vaccine requirements that simply says that it's the parents' responsibility in Tennessee to get their children vaccinated according to the AAP or the CDC schedule. That law has to go. That should never have been on the books. It actually violates what's called the non-delegation doctrine. They can't assign somebody else that authority. And so we're going to really need your help fighting the AAP and getting rid of that law. And I guess I will just conclude with the final statement. Pick your passion, get on board, get educated. Freedom requires your participation. Thank you.